To Take a Side, sports talk show that lets you, the viewer, choose our winners. As always, get on Sided.co and the Sided Debates app for your chance to climb up that leaderboard and take home a $25 Amazon gift card. Shout out to last week's winner, Christian Ramirez, for standing atop the Sided leaderboard and taking home a $25 Amazon gift card. It's election day. Before we talk politics, we have a lot to talk about in the world of sports. With the Minnesota Vikings' upset win over the Green Bay Packers on Sunday and the Chicago Bears' devastating overtime loss to the New Orleans Saints, there's a tough battle for the NFC North crown. The Packers lead the division at 5-2, with the Bears right behind them at 5-3. I'm joined by Nick Sola and Jack McGarr by Zoom to debate who will win the NFC North this year.
Just the winning experience in the playoffs, but more importantly, they have Aaron Rodgers, who is just kind of having an MVP caliber year. He's at like 20 touchdowns to 2 picks right now. Really good completion percentage. I would say he's on a mission this year. They have Aaron Jones coming back soon. They have Jamal Williams behind him, also a beast. And I think the Bears are just a little shaken up offensively right now. They just need, once they get a little more consistently offensively, is when I can see them as a contender. But right now, I got to go with the Packers.
I gotta take the Bears on this one. I think when you look at the Packers, there are a little too many deficiencies when it comes to injuries. I think a lot of their players, especially their star players like Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, even I think Aaron Rodgers a little bit sometimes can kind of get shaken up here and there. But I mean, you saw last week against the Vikings, they didn't have Aaron Jones and their offense looked like dumbfounded. I mean, Devontae Adams still came up with 2 touchdowns, and that's great, but you can't rely on one player or else he's going to get double teamed every time down. I think the Bears, however, I know their offense is very, very incompetent right now every time they take the field, but I think what will happen eventually is Trubisky will get put back in because I think we'll realize Foles doesn't really have the arm that can make those deep plays down the field. And I think Trubisky has shown time and time again that he can actually make those big plays. So I think once Trubisky gets back in and I think the offense starts getting running, I think we'll develop a run game. And I think the Bears will eventually get their offense clicking, and they've got a top-tier defense already, and I think that really can stand out to win the NFC North. I mean, they're already standing at 5-3 even with the struggles they've had on offense. So I think if they can get their offense rolling, I think there's no reason why they can't win the NFC North at this point.
Absolutely. Their defense is definitely elite, one of the best. That's the reason where they are where they're at. It'll be interesting. They have another matchup, I believe, not this week, but the week after. It might be a primetime game, actually. Could be kind of a decider. I just think you kind of hit on it with the QB situation. They seem to be in the Nick Foles boat still, but that could change at any time, as to where with Green Bay, you just have an absolute assassin with Aaron Rodgers, and injuries are a little bit of an issue right now, but I think they are stacked enough. Like I said, they have Jamal Williams behind Aaron Jones, who has been putting up great numbers while he's been out. They have, obviously Devontae Adams behind him. They have guys like Lazard that Rodgers really likes. And they have a defense that is probably among one of the better Packers defenses. They've never been a great defensive team, but they certainly can hold their own. And I just think when it comes down to, crunch time and who needs to win the game, you got to give it to Aaron Rodgers. That's ultimately what's gonna make or break for them, I think. But the biggest matchup will be the Packers-Bears rematch that will be happening in a couple of weeks. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
I agree. I think when we see that game, I think it'll be truly clear to see who's going to take the NFC North, depending on who wins that game. Or even if it's a close matchup, I think it'll still tell who's going to win the division. But like you said, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, if you've got Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, even Lazard, like you said. But the problem is he hasn't had all 3 of those guys on the field at the same time really throughout the season. I mean, Lazard's been on IR. Devontae Adams has missed a couple of games already in the season with injury. Aaron Jones has missed, I think, 2 games now with a calf injury. And I mean, that'll probably continue throughout the season. So I think really when you can't have, I mean, with all three of those guys like that we just mentioned, with Aaron Rodgers on the field, that offense is really scary. They were putting up like 40 something points every game when they had everyone in there. But the fact of the matter is, you're not going to have everyone here because they're all suffering injuries throughout the season. So I think when you have those key injuries to your key players, I think that really scares your offense, and that changes your game plan every time you take the field. But I think with the Bears, I mean, Matt Nagy will have to make a change in quarterback soon, because I don't think Nick Foles will keep winning games. We have a big matchup against the Titans next week, or this upcoming week. And I think if the offense
Right.
doesn't do anything crazy, I think there might have to be a change with Trubisky. I
Right.
remember we played the Bears played the Rams, and they completed their first play of 40 yards or more passing. And that's a
Right.
very scary stat that we were the only team that didn't have a play like that yet. So I think if the offense doesn't start rolling, that Trubisky will have to be put in.
Yeah, I think a QB switch up is definitely under consideration. I would also, maybe not mid-season, but in the off season, they may think about. I think they're fine. They should be fine with Matt Nagy and like him as a head coach. I don't know if necessarily he should be running the whole offense per se. I think they need someone else that can kind of help him out there. You know, like Andy Reid. You know, he'll take over the offense, but he's not doing everything. Kind of, he needs someone else. You know, like I think Matt Nagy kind of needs someone else that can help guide on offense, and he can do more of a whole game overview kind of thing. But I think that's the big thing, is just they're pondering on offense, whether it's QB play or play calling. It's tough there, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
With that being said, make sure to go vote it on sided.co for your favorite, and we'll be right back.